Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Just in from the Gateway Pundit, acting AG Whittaker says Mueller's investigation is close to being completed. I think we all know what that means. Once this is done, we can move on to some bigger and better things. I think that with the conclusion of Mueller's investigation, we're not only going to see the vindication of President Trump, but we are also going to see the implication of some extremely nasty people that we have all been hoping would go down in some serious, serious crimes. Because as our favorite Anon said, the purpose of Mueller was to gather information and evidence. And I believe that has been happening. First of all here, the acting Attorney General Matthew Whittaker said in a presser on Monday that he has been fully briefed on Mueller's investigation and that it is close to being completed. I've been fully briefed on the investigation and I look forward to Director Mueller delivering the final report, Whittaker said. The investigation is, I think, close to being completed and I hope that we can get to the report from Mueller as soon as possible, Whittaker added. Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel by DAG Rod Rosenstein in May of 2017 to investigate if Donald Trump colluded with the Russians during the 2016 presidential election. Mueller is also seeking to get Trump on obstruction of justice charges for exercising his presidential authority when he fired James Comey as FBI director. A crime was never even named, as we still have not seen Rosenstein's scope memo, which gave Mueller the ability to rove around as a rogue prosecutor. Mueller's team of lawyers is a who's who of angry Democrat donors seeking to destroy Trump because he stopped Queen Hillary's coronation. Mueller's crime spree, disguised as an investigation, has churned out indictments over process crimes. Flynn, Cohen, Manafort, Papadopoulos, and Stone have all been charged for making false statements or charged with crimes totally unrelated to the Russian collusion. Mueller's corrupt report on Trump will be used as fodder to further destroy Trump's presidency. But I don't think that's true. Sidney Powell is an expert of Department of Justice corruption and has followed the career of Democrat hatchetman Andrew Weissmann, who has destroyed thousands of lives during his career as a federal prosecutor, only to see his cases overturned years later by superior court rulings. Sidney Powell wrote License to Lie, exposing corruption in the Department of Justice after seeing a core group of federal prosecutors break all the rules, make up crimes, hide evidence, and send innocent people to prison in the Enron case. On Sunday, Mark Levin and Sidney Powell discussed the upcoming release of the Mueller report. Sidney warned that the report, which will likely be authored by Andrew Weissmann, will destroy Trump. That is the goal, and that is why Democrats are looking forward to its release. I personally do not believe that is going to be the case. There is nothing that's going to destroy Trump. I think maybe they'll try to make him look bad. They'll say a lot of things. They'll make a lot of conjecture, but they don't have any evidence. All right. The purpose of this investigation was to find out about Russian collusion. There was no Russian collusion. I'm only hoping that perhaps they write the report and they talk about the actual Russian collusion. Now, we're going to go ahead and watch a little bit from the presser today when acting AG Whittaker had some thoughts on this matter. So let's take a listen.
I've been fully briefed on the investigation, and, I look forward to Director Mueller delivering the final report. And I really am not going to talk about open and ongoing investigation otherwise, but sort of the statements that I made were as a private citizen, only with publicly available information. And I am comfortable that the decisions that were made are going to be reviewed, either through the various means we have. But right now, the investigation is, I think, close to being completed, and I hope that we can get the report from Director Mueller as soon as possible.
Well, that's very interesting. I think that Whittaker's body language and the way he's looking, I think that says a lot about what is actually going to be in that report. Now, I thought it was very interesting. Someone on Twitter posted this today, Zoda Stone, in response to Greg Rubini. Greg said, FISA goes both ways, and Zoda asks, Greg, what do you think about this? And, what is this? The triumphant return of FBI Anon on 4chan. FBI Anon says, FBI Anon here. Jim Comey and John Brennan have been indicted by a grand jury. The indictments will be made public 2 weeks from Friday. How will you celebrate? Well, incidentally, 2 weeks from Friday is February 15th, which is also the date that the Democrats have to get their plan together and get border wall funding in place. Now, of course, the border wall funding already exists, and Trump already has the military building the wall in several key areas down at the southern border. But what if the Mueller report also comes out on this day, and this is what is announced in it? I think that would be awesome. Now, of course, this is an anonymous board. We don't know if it's actually FBI Anon posting again, but if it is FBI Anon has said some stuff in the past that really lends credence to the idea that this is a true FBI insider leaking information. So February 15th, I'm going to be watching. Now next, more news from the Gateway Pundit. Breaking, this is in relation to the State of the Union. Speaker Pelosi has officially invited President Trump to give the State of the Union address on February 5th from the House chamber. On Monday afternoon, Speaker Pelosi invited President Trump to deliver his State of the Union address from the House chamber on February 5th, 2019. Nancy Pelosi's Deputy Chief of Staff, Drew Hamill, tweeted out the letter from House Speaker Pelosi to President Trump. When I wrote to you on January 23rd, I stated that we should work together to find a mutually agreeable date when government has reopened to schedule this year's State of the Union address. In our conversation today, we agreed on February 5th, Pelosi wrote. Therefore, I invite you to deliver your State of the Union address before a joint session of Congress on February 5th, 2019, in the House chamber, Pelosi added. There is the letter itself, short and sweet, to the point. President Trump was originally scheduled to deliver his State of the Union address on January 29th. However, Pelosi postponed the speech, citing security concerns due to the partial government shutdown. The president ended the shutdown on Friday and agreed to reopen the government without border wall funding. Trump signed a short-term continuing resolution to fund the Department of Homeland Security through February 15th. Trump threatened to shut down the government again in 3 weeks if a deal is not made to build a border wall. President Trump added that he will use constitutional powers to build the wall if he has to. Now, I had said before that I'm going to be live streaming the President's State of the Union. Now that it's moved to February 5th, I will definitely be streaming it on that date. So anybody that wants to show up will be live in the chat and talking about the news of the day 1 hour before the State of the Union begins. And then we'll watch it together and we can chat about it live as it takes place. This is very good news. I'm glad that it's happening. I was worried there for a minute that it might not happen at all because we're getting very close to January 29th. That's either today or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video. And hopefully President Trump is going to have another rousing speech to give to that joint session of Congress. Last year was the best State of the Union I've ever seen, so I've got very high hopes. All right, next, I have a very interesting thread from 40_head on Twitter. Let's take a listen. All right, so first of all, they reference a drop, number 7. This is no doubt going to cause some Anons to stop and scratch their heads. Believe me, it was difficult for me at first, too. The hope that HRC will be charged over the email scandal is gone. But there's a reason, and the trade-off is a far greater prize. #ForTheKids. We Americans are emotional. An old song, a fast car, a beautiful sunset, a military fighter jet, a little puppy, an old couple holding hands, a police funeral. Our whole lives are built around invoking emotion. Sometimes we have to take a step back and turn that off. Why wasn't HRC prosecuted for the emails? Put simply, Obama ultimately okayed them by using the non-government email address to communicate with Clinton. Obama also had an alias along with each of his cabinet members. Therefore, indicating HRC would lead to indicating Obama and his cabinet, etc., which could never happen. Remember, he lied about knowing, but that ultimately came out in the dump. Poof. Plain English, HRC and BHO will not go to jail for the illegal email servers. BHO authorized its use by using it, so it is technically legal. Feel like someone punched you in the gut? Hold on. Perspective. Check that emotion. Our favorite Anon is telling us HRC will not be prosecuted for use of the email server. Since BHO was included in the email strings and by him not shutting it down upon discovery, it means he allowed it. Now, you know why Trade Gowdy never pursued charges against HRC. So many have called Gowdy a deep state pawn, or said that he was somehow paid off. Gowdy is an extremely intelligent patriot, and he was fully aware and counseled that he could not charge HRC since BHO was complicit. However, that drop says nothing about HRC being relieved of lying about the server, destroying evidence that was subpoenaed for a congressional hearing, or about purposefully allowing it to be hacked by foreign agents. That is all criminal. Our favorite Anon does not comment on that yet. There's something else to be considered. The destroyed devices have had quite the extensive forensics done on them. Many emails have been recovered. Not just that, but WL has obtained the thousands upon thousands of emails that were allowed to be hacked off the server. What BHO cannot authorize is declassification without order or acknowledgement. And if he was involved in allowing the server to operate so that it could be hacked by foreign operatives, that's treason. So we come to a position of legality and explanation. What was hacked? Our favorite Anon told us in several drops what really happened in those hacks and who got them. Here's drop 1982. It contains 2 links. The first is an article from Fox News published on August 29th. Chinese company reportedly hacked Clinton's server, got a copy of every email in real time. Hope you guys remember this. A Chinese state-owned company reportedly hacked former Secretary of State Clinton's email server, then inserted code that forwarded them a copy of virtually every email she sent or received after that. A revelation President Trump is demanding be investigated. The Daily Caller reported that a firm operating in the D.C. area wrote code that was then embedded in the server and generated a courtesy copy of almost all her emails, which was then forwarded to the Chinese company. The code reportedly was discovered in 2015 by the Intelligence Community Inspector General, which then warned FBI officials of the intrusion. A source briefed on the matter confirmed to Fox News that details of the caller's reporting and said that the ICIG was so concerned by the revelation that officials drove over to the FBI to inform agents, including anti-Trump agent Peter Strzok, of the development after it was discovered via the email's metadata. The source told Fox News that the hack was from a Chinese company, describing it as a front for Chinese intelligence. A second source briefed on the matter told Fox News that officials outside of the FBI indicated code on the Clinton server suggested a foreign source was receiving copies of email in real time. The hacking report caught the attention late Tuesday of President Trump, who warned that the FBI and DOJ should act or their credibility will be forever gone. Report just out. China hacked Hillary Clinton's private email server. Are they sure it wasn't Russia? Just kidding. What are the odds that the FBI and DOJ are right on top of this? Actually, a very big story, much classified information. Hillary Clinton's emails, many of which are classified information, got hacked by China. Next move better be the FBI and DOJ after all of their other missteps. Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Page, Orr, FISA, dirty dossier. Their credibility will be forever gone. But the FBI disputed the claims. The FBI has not found any evidence the servers were compromised, an FBI official told Fox News, and referred to the Justice Department's Inspector General report in June. That report detailed how the FBI conducted intrusion analyses into the server to look for evidence the accounts in the server had been accessed. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying also responded to Trump's tweet, saying, "This isn't the first time we've heard similar kinds of allegations." China is a staunch defender of cybersecurity. We firmly oppose and crack down on any forms of internet attacks and the stealing of secrets, she said, according to Reuters. The ICIG declined to comment. Clinton's office did not respond to a request for comment, but a spokesman told the Daily Caller, the FBI spent thousands of hours investigating and found no evidence of intrusion. That's a fact. Fox News reported in March that Strzok was advised of an irregularity in the metadata of Clinton's server that suggested a possible breach, but no follow-up action was taken. Further, a May 2016 email from Strzok obtained by Fox News earlier this year said we know foreign actors obtained access to some Clinton emails, including at least one secret message via compromises of the private email accounts of Clinton staffers. Representative Louis Gohmert, Republican Texas, asked Strzok in a House Oversight Committee hearing in July whether he was briefed about an anomaly on Clinton's emails found by ICIG officials. You were given the information and you did nothing about it, Gohmert told Strzok in July. Strzok said he remembered meeting with the ICIG officials, but did not remember the contents of the meeting, and that every allegation was forwarded to experts who looked at it carefully. If there was a lead, I gave it to the team, Strzok said, as part of a heated back and forth between the two. Strzok was fired this month after controversy surrounding anti-Trump texts he sent to FBI lawyer Lisa Page, with whom he was having an affair. Reached by phone Tuesday, Gomer said Fox News on Tuesday that the emails were obtained by a foreign country's intelligence, but he declined to name the country in question. He said there was no sign that Strzok and the FBI had taken any action when confirmed by the ICIG, and no indication that they even informed Clinton. He told Fox News he was surprised that his questioning about it in the Strzok hearing in July didn't generate more media attention, but noted that the press seized on a comment he made shortly afterward when he asked Strzok, "How many times did you look into your wife's eyes and lie about Lisa Page?" It's criminally important, he said, when asked about the significance of the server revelation. There are countries that would pay a tremendous amount of money to know what Clinton was saying, doing, and thinking through her emails, what she's doing, who she's going to meet, what she thought about meetings, not necessarily classified, but critically important. And those emails were compromised, and people like Strzok, when they were briefed, knew this would devastate her chances of being elected, and they weren't about to do anything to hurt those chances. Then FBI Director James Comey concluded the FBI's investigation into Clinton emails in July 2016, saying that while Clinton had been extremely careless in her handling of classified information, he would not recommend charges to the DOJ. This is critically important, and this is why I read through that entire article. If you did not know, now you're aware, and I want you to make sure you get this video out because everyone needs to know that Hillary Clinton gave access to the Chinese on her private server. Now, the second article is this one right here. Congressman Nunes sought meeting with UK spy chiefs in London. We're going to read that next. From Reuters, Congressman Devin Nunes, chairman of the U.S. House Intelligence Committee and a strong supporter of President Donald Trump, sought unsuccessfully to meet chiefs of Britain's 3 intelligence agencies on a recent visit to London, according to 2 sources familiar with his itinerary. And I should point out that this story is from August 28th of 2018. The sources said representatives of the British agencies initially considered meeting with Nunes during the trip, which took place in recent weeks, but that scheduling difficulties made it impossible. Ultimately, the sources said, after consultation with 3 agencies, MI5, MI6, and GCHQ, Prime Minister Theresa May's Deputy National Security Advisor, Madeleine Alessandri, met Nunes. His London visit and his unsuccessful effort to meet British spy chiefs were originally reported by The Atlantic. Nunes and staffers working with him have used congressional powers to investigate persons and organizations Trump and his supporters view as enemies. At one point last year, 2 Nunes aides unsuccessfully traveled to London to question former British spy Christopher Steele, who compiled a controversial dossier on Trump. Nunes' House committee has sought testimony and business records from Fusion GPS, a Washington, D.C. private investigations firm, which was hired first by Republicans and then by Democrat Party lawyers to gather derogatory information on 2016 Republican presidential candidates. As it became clear that Trump was the Republicans' likely presidential nominee, Fusion GPS in turn hired Steele, a former senior officer of Britain's MI6 Foreign Intelligence Agency, to look into Trump's connections to Russia. Steele produced the fake and phony dossier of allegations against Trump, which received little media attention before the election but set off a political firestorm after its publication by the now-failing BuzzFeed website in January 2017. Nunes and other Republican congressional Trump supporters have pressed U.S. agencies and the Justice Department to turn over correspondence and messages trafficked related to Steele's contacts with the FBI and other U.S. agencies and officials. British intelligence agencies and Britain's Cabinet Office had no immediate comment, and a spokesman for Nunes did not immediately reply to a request for comment. I think that maybe the reason they did not want to meet with Nunes is because they knew that their butts were going to get held to the fire, and they have a lot of things to be afraid of. Now, the Fox article says that China saw every HRC email in real time as it was sent or received. That's a ton of classified information being distributed to foreign powers, folks. Espionage fully engaged. Look at what POTUS had to say about it. And we read that tweet already. From the Reuters article, right here, Congressman Devin Nunes, chairman of the U.S. House Intelligence Committee and a strong supporter of President Donald Trump, sought unsuccessfully to meet chiefs of Britain's 3 intelligence agencies. Nunes knew there was info to be found. If you're not yet familiar with the term Five Eyes, it's referring to the Five Eyes, which would be Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. It's a five-nation alliance of intelligence agencies who promise to share intelligence information with each other. Per our favorite Anon's drops, FVEY was weaponized against the DJT campaign by HRC. POTUS realized this right away and began calling these people out for their actions against him. It was rough waters early in his presidency when DJT put his foot down hard and said, "I know what you did." I told you, there are a lot of Q drops on HRC's email server. I wasn't kidding, there's dozens upon dozens. Here's the link to the Q map. Just type in email server in the site's search bar. You can read each drop that speaks on the subject. What has been established is that HRC, under the auspices of BHO, was operating an illegal, unsecured, private email server. She and many others, including BHO, who was the sitting president, used that server to communicate numerous classified pieces of information. It's been proven without a doubt that at least China, if not others as well, were able to hack that server so thoroughly they saw HRC's emails in real time. Upon being told to turn everything over to prosecutors and Congress, HRC destroyed everything that was requested. Why destroy something if BHO had authorized its use? The big question. It's what was in the emails and what evidence was on the server and devices that proved the hacking was allowed on purpose. And the Anon posted, "What if access to the servers was deliberate?" The fact is, our classified information was discovered on a private email server, but our favorite Anon took the time to correct us as we went off course. Trending non-MSM. China hacked HRC server? False. Access was granted. You have more than you know. Funny when they crap themselves in public. Adam Schiff said Sunday it was deeply disturbing that House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes received classified information about Hillary Clinton's emails from FBI field agents in 2016. He was scared when that happened. That classified information included facts about the server being purposefully unprotected against hackers. The fact that access was granted to that server meant Nunes has known all along as well. But again, patience, time, lining up the dominoes, all boxes checked. So, if the actual use of the server is not prosecutable, then why pursue the email investigation at all? Because it will invariably lead to many bigger crimes as the emails themselves are recovered, source codes exposed, and players identified. Not copying all of it, but here's hope from drop 1552. IG email investigation, weakest of set. Open door to Wiener, HRC, others, crimes against children, noose. The email investigation is weak, but it opened the door to so many other crimes that will end with a noose. Understand, the big picture takes us checking our emotions. This is much bigger than an email scandal or an illegal server. This is about international espionage and protecting our humanity. Pray, keep the faith, and remember, we're all in this together. WWG1WGA. You guys know what that means. All right, so I think that this thread was necessary after the last couple videos I did garnered many comments about how, I'm jumping off the Trump train. Nothing is being done. These people are not going to get in trouble. The deep state is still in control. No, guys, they're not. They're in the process of being completely dethroned. And I really feel that everyone should take a moment, let cooler heads prevail, allow yourself to think about how this has to be done. A thorough investigation means they are going to go through every iota of evidence so that they can really build the strongest case possible. The email server itself was the weakest, but the reason it was used, there is the kicker. All right, next, one more from the Gateway Pundit. Sarah Sanders asked if working with WL should be a crime. Fires back saying every media outlet has used them as a source. Oh, boom, that's so true. On Monday, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders held the first press briefing of 2019 and reminded the activist reporters in the room that every media outlet has used WikiLeaks as a source. When asked by a reporter if working with award-winning publisher should be considered a crime, Sanders said that every single outlet that you all represent and looked for and searched for information WikiLeaks was providing, including reporting on it. I'm not aware of anybody here working with WikiLeaks in any capacity, but I do know that every individual that represents a media outlet here looked for that information. Most of you reported on that information. So I think you are just as accountable as anyone else in the process, Sarah continued. The question came in regard to Senator Marco Rubio's ridiculous assertion on Sunday that working with the publisher should be considered a crime. His stunning attack on free press received little blowback from the DC insider media, who claim to be fighting to defend a free press. What a joke. WikiLeaks is one of the only major publishers who has never had to issue a correction or a retraction for publishing fake or misleading news. That is the truth. WikiLeaks, I don't know where they stand now, but their history speaks for itself. They are incredible, and they really have done the job that the media has refused to do over the years. As every other media outlet faltered and drifted into deep state clownery, WikiLeaks continued to pump it out until Julian Assange was essentially cut off from everything. Now, I really don't know what to say about them. Hopefully, we'll get them back. And in another one from the Gateway Pundit, the feds refuse to unseal documents on the FBI deep state raid of Clinton Foundation whistleblower that implicate Mueller. This is about Uranium One, guys. On the morning of November 19th, 16 FBI agents raided the Maryland home of a DOJ whistleblower who was in possession of Clinton Foundation and Uranium One documents. The whistleblower came across the devastating documents while he was working for an FBI contractor, according to the whistleblower's lawyer. Note, this order was likely in the works before Jeff Sessions was fired. The Daily Caller exclusively reported that whistleblower, Dennis Nathan Cain, had given these documents to Inspector General Horowitz and both the House and Senate Intel committees. Over a dozen FBI agents rifled through Dennis Nathan Cain's home for about 6 hours, even though he had already given the documents to the proper investigative channels, according to his lawyer. The documents reveal then FBI Director Robert Mueller failed to investigate criminal misconduct by Rosatom, the Russian nuclear firm that purchased 20% of the U.S.'s uranium. In December, the DOJ pushed back on requests to explain its reasons for raiding the Dennis Nathan Cain home. And now a federal court refuses to unseal the documents to the public on why it was necessary for the DOJ to raid the home of a Clinton Foundation whistleblower. Are you starting to understand that we have a two-tiered legal system here in America today? There is a DOJ, FBI, and media complex that protects Democrats and destroys and hides any record of Democrat wrongdoing. There is also a DOJ that arrests and jails Republicans and Trump supporters and threatens and destroys anyone associated with the Trump movement. The Daily Caller News Foundation reported a federal court refused to unseal government documents that permitted the FBI to raid the home of a reportedly recognized whistleblower who, according to his lawyer, delivered documents pertaining to the Clinton Foundation and Uranium One to a presidentially appointed watchdog. The U.S. District Court of Maryland's Chief Magistrate Judge Beth P. Gessner, a Clinton appointee, also sealed her justification for keeping the documents secret in a single-page December 20th order. On November 15th, federal magistrate judge Stephanie Gallagher authorized the raid on Dennis Cain's Union Bridge, Maryland home. She sealed the government documents justifying the raid. So I believe that there was some comment on this raid from our favorite Anon, and it seemed to me that perhaps his name had been leaked, so therefore his safety was compromised. So then maybe it became necessary to perform the raid as, some type of show for the clowns and prove that there was nothing else there, and thereby perhaps saving his life. This is just me, spitballing it. But, maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it was elements from the Obama-Clinton cabal that wanted to go in there and just scare the living daylights out of him, make it so that, he couldn't work and essentially destroy him as retribution for him blowing the whistle on these documents. Hopefully soon, we're going to find out. All right, and lastly from the Gateway Pundit, Willie Brown gave his mistress Kamala Harris her first state jobs with income totaling more than $400,000 in 5 years. Wow. Mayor Willie Brown and his mistress Kamala Harris are right here. Willie Brown is still married to his wife Blanche Vitero. They have 3 children. Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown admitted this week to an extramarital affair with Kamala Harris. Brown also admitted to giving Harris her first state jobs. In a short article in the San Francisco Chronicle, Brown admitted to the extramarital affair and to appointing Harris to 2 state commissions. Yes, we dated. It was more than 20 years ago. Yes, I may have influenced her career by appointing her to 2 state commissions when I was an assembly speaker. And I certainly helped with her first race for district attorney in San Francisco. I have also helped the careers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and a host of other politicians. Does that mean that Willie Brown had affairs with all of those people? Willie Brown gave his young mistress her first state positions totaling more than $400,000 in 5 years. He later helped her win election in California. The OC Register reported, according to San Francisco Weekly, Harris and Brown met in 1994 when he was Speaker of the State Assembly. He was 60, she was 29. Prior to her running for office, Brown appointed Harris to 2 patronage positions in state government, the Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board and the California Medical Assistance Commission. These positions paid handsomely, more than $400,000 over 5 years. At one point, Brown and Harris were the talk of the town. Right before Brown was sworn in as mayor of San Francisco, legendary San Francisco columnist Herb Caen implied that the self-described Ayatollah of the Assembly and a girlfriend would soon get married. In his book Basic Brown, Brown quoted his wife Blanche as responding to the column by saying, "Listen, she may have him at the moment, but come Inauguration Day and he's up there on the platform being sworn in, I'll be the BITCH holding the Bible." The couple broke up, but the friendship and political alliance remained. In 2003, Harris decided to run for district attorney of the city and county of San Francisco. Brown assisted this campaign by raising money on her behalf and introduced her to deep-pocketed donors. Well, I just wanted to show this because it really gets to the heart of Kamala Harris's character and the type of people that we have on the Democratic left, the people who are going to be running for president. So this should be an easy one to punch holes in when it comes to 2020. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.